Alright, so this week in our NoGi Driller's Guide session, I wanted to start working on Darces. I've done Darces for a long time, but I've just never effectively decided to go for them unless they were just there. Like, as long as it was a clear sign, I would go for them, but otherwise I would really avoid them because it just wasn't really the style or the game that I was kind of going with. And so in this session, I wanted to get more comfortable with just understanding the Darce. So the first thing that I start doing is I just start to try to do the leg weave, do the knee cut, and think about exactly where the Darce would be. And at first, it's, it feels awkward, it feels wrong, it feels like I'm not actually, it wouldn't work live rolling. And that's how all your jiu-jitsu is going to start, okay? So every time you start drilling a move, you're going to feel awkward. You're going to feel like you have no confidence. You have no ability to do this. But then as it goes on, you're going to start getting a flow. Then you're going to start hitting a mechanic stage, right? And in this video, I kind of start hitting this mechanic stage. And this is what I really like about Brandon right now as far as my drilling partner, because at first, he's going to let me flow. At first, he's going to let me do the motions. And there's going to be a little awkwardness. We're not really exactly sure how we want the drill to go or how we want it to be perfect. But then, once we kind of get a flow down, he's going to start adding a little bit of resistance. Nothing crazy, not like he's trying to stop me from passing or trying to stop me from doing the series, but he's going to start being more realistic with what he would do, and then he's going to start analyzing that for me, which is great. This is exactly what you guys should do, right? It's almost like this is what you should do with your friends and normal life. This is what you should do with your significant others. You got to start creating a flow, and then you got to just actually start analyzing and correcting things, or adding the shit that a lot of people don't want to actually get into and fix and correct, which is what I basically spent my whole life doing. So now I'm getting to this place where, okay, I can see the Darce, I can see the flow, I can see what I need to do, but now I've got to figure out how to break the posture of his head down, or I got to figure out how to break the posture of his arm down. And then it almost becomes like an actual enjoyable thing. It's not an impossible thing, it's just now there's somewhat of an actual resistance and struggle. And that's the cool thing about it. So it's cool that if I get into that knee shield, or that I want to start seeing these things from everywhere. And the Rotillo brothers have done really good at making the Darce a really dynamic series again, and it's fun to watch how they pretty much try to throw it from everywhere. And that was my thought process when I started to get into this drilling session and to really think about how I could do it. Now, this is where it's going to start, right? Knee cut, leg weave, getting comfortable, but eventually I want to get it from, all the different places that you could possibly get it from maybe when they're sitting up, from somehow when they're going to turtle before they get to turtle, somehow when they're passing guard, once you start really perfecting and actually mastering a technique, it's amazing how it's going to open up the doorways to every other technique. It's kind of like triangles. When I did 10,000 triangles or 10,000 arm bars, once I finished my 10,000, I started really understanding them from every other place. Falling off the back, from top, from bottom. I understood the mechanics of how I need to make sure that once I get to the right position, how to control it, how to lock it in more. So right here, I'm making sure I'm getting to the position, and then I'm having to shoulder, I'm shrugging my shoulder a little bit to feed it deeper, or to break his arm down, or to my elbow is making sure that I'm pulling his head in. You have to be relentless right there. If you notice, 3, 4, 5 times until my arm comes in and it gets to the place that it needs to, and that's the really cool thing about how we are drilling right now, is we're creating as much of a realistic scenario as possible without getting out of control and getting off of the actual focus point. And that's exactly what I think we should do with Jiu-Jitsu. So I really enjoyed this driller session, and I hope you guys did too. And if you ever need something that you want drilled, send me a message. Otherwise, subscribe to our channel.